There was a time last season when Chelsea fans thought, will we see Frank Lampard next season? There must have been a time when you thought, would you still have a future at Chelsea next season? New season approaches, Frank Lampard's still here. How good does that feel?
It feels great. I mean, last year turned out to be a great season in the end on all fronts for the club itself after some dodgy moments and me personally. And to break the record at the back end of the season, to get the new deal, more importantly for me, was a huge thing. Obviously everyone was aware that I wanted to stay, and I don't know, I suppose having gone away now for I've had a good long break this summer, a good month and the rest, which has not been normal for me, and come back very refreshed to go again, so I'm happy to be here.
And something else has changed during the summer, in the return of a special one, Mr. Jose Mourinho. That's lifted every Chelsea fan. Has it lifted you as well?
Certainly. I think from the day the news broke, personally, having worked with him before, I know so much about him, and he was such a positive influence on my career, a pivotal influence on my career really, that changed a lot of my game and the way I played and how I felt about football. So for him to come back personally for me was brilliant, but not only that, I know what he can give this club, and I think in the position we are at the moment with a lot of, say, a transitional period, because we've been winning things, the teams don't normally win in transitional periods, but it's certainly a time for us where we've got an older, experienced part of the squad, young players coming through. For me, he's the perfect man to guide the club through that and get the best out of it.
There's that famous anecdote of when Mourinho came up to you, I think you were in the bath or the shower or something. Just talk us through that and about what impression that made on you, because that's a great story about his man management style.
Yeah, well, I've told this a load of times, but yeah, no, we was in America actually pre-season, right in the beginning of his time here, and I'd come out off the back of Euro 2004 and had a pretty good tournament, so I was pretty confident, but not confident maybe as I should be if I wanted to get to where I wanted to be as a player. In the shower, he'd come over and said to me that you're the best player in the world, something along those lines, and I was like, really? He went, yes, you are. He said, but if you really want to be the best player in the world, you need to have titles, you need to win medals. And obviously from then on we actually did go to win medals, and I think my career obviously went in an upward curve certainly from there, but whether he thought I was the best player in the world, whether it was a mind game, I don't know, but he certainly knew how to get the best out of me, because I walked out of the shower thinking, well, whether I am or not, and I don't think I am, but I need to try and show this bloke that I'm somewhere around what he just said, and I tried to make him be proved right in his own head, and I like to think I sort of nearly got towards doing that.
It's a little bit different this time, because first time around we spent a lot of money, brought in some established players with great pedigree. This time there's a slightly different approach at Chelsea, focused on young players, developing young players and making them the stars of the future. Can Jose do that?
I think so. Like I said before, I think if anyone's going to come to this club, know what it's all about, but also be a man to improve those young players, I think he's the man to do it. I think when you look at, I think the good thing about signing young players and a squad full of young players, it's great for the future, but in modern football you don't get anything for having a future. You have to do things now, so it's very important that those younger players, as they did last year, they learn quickly and they become part of a successful club, as Chelsea should be. And I think with the manager's winning mentality, with his desire to extract the best out of players straight away and improve them, I think you're going to see a quick improvement in all of them, hopefully along the right lines, which will only help improve the squad. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the exciting times of the future.
Have you noticed any differences in him since he's been back? He talks about he's the happy one now, he's more mature, he's more relaxed. Do you buy into that?
Yeah, I do buy into it because he says so, and I think from behind the scenes, seeing him, I think he probably has matured, the right word, but with experience we all change. I think he'll probably certainly see a new me, and I think I can see a bit of a new him now. We're in pre-season, it's a different phase to when the real business stuff starts in a few weeks' time. But I think he has a very relaxed way about it at certain times behind the scenes that isn't seen in the newspapers or in front of the camera so much. And I think all the players here, the ones that knew him, was expecting the similar sort of Jose, and he's brought that. He's come back very similar. But the players that didn't know him maybe would have looked afar and seen all the things that all the public see, and now they're seeing what the real man is. And I think he's got this fantastic ability for me of working very hard on the training ground and getting the best out of people, and then having his relaxed moments where he sort of kindles this team spirit thing that he manages to take wherever club he goes with.
How does he do that? How does he get everybody all together, that team mentality, the team spirit, we're all in this together,
well, for
it's
me,
us against the world.
For me, you have to break that down. The only way you get a complete team spirit is if you get on every individual and get the best out of them and make them feel a part of that. So whether you're playing week in, week out, whether you're seen as his number one choice in any position, or whether you're seen as an occasional player, squad player, you have to have a feeling that the manager, has a relationship with you, wants to get the best out of you, you want to give him the best back. And I think once he gets that across the board with all the players, then you can easily get this team spirit thing going. And I had that with him in the beginning. I see him now, the experience of the man and the way he is going around to different players at different times, speaking to them, cajoling them a little bit. And I think that's half the battle. And I always talk about management now, not just about Mourinho. As I've learned as a player in it, it's not so much always coaching at the top level and tactics and all these things. It's a lot about bringing the best out of each individual talent you've got, because we've certainly got a lot of talent. And that's what the best managers do. I'm sure Fergie did that for years at Man United. So I think that's a bit of the magic of the top managers.
Now, what has he said to you? Because the difference this time around, and Jose's talking about it with us guys in the press, saying that he doesn't see a difference in you, the player, but obviously he has to take notice of the difference in age, that you probably can't do the roles that you did before. You can't play again and again and again. He's got to manage you carefully. Have you had that conversation with him? Are you prepared?
Yeah, we had a very similar conversation to that, and it's actually no great shakes to me. I mean, I've had the last 2 or 3 years, people talk about my consecutive run of games and stuff like that, but the last 2 years haven't been like that anyway. And not many of us in this squad have. You look at all our players last year, there was rotation, there's change, you have to expect it at a club like this. And the manager said the same to me. He knows me, I'm pleased what he said, that I'm the same player and all this stuff. We do have a good relationship. He also made me fully aware that there's no preferential treatment or anything like that for players he's worked with before, which is more, no more than what I'd have expected anyway. He didn't even have to tell me that. But, he said the same as he'd said out publicly last week, whatever it was, that I do have to manage myself differently. I'm aware of that. If I'm playing well, I want to be involved in all those games. I have enough respect and a relationship with the manager that I'm in his hands in that way. I'll train hard, I'll try and keep fit, I'll try and keep ready, and then he can use me as he wants to use me.
The encouraging thing is, it was a rider with what he said, is that he doesn't look at birth certificates, he doesn't look at passports, He doesn't care about age. If you're good enough, you're going to play, whether that means you're 17 or you're 37. So that must be music to your ears as well.
Well, for me that's the right way, it's the only way, and we do get caught up with age a lot in football. Back in England, I think particularly, I think we look at post 30-year-old players as being on the wane, which has been proven more and more wrong as the modern days have come, because of the nutrition and the way players look after themselves. And we look at young players, and if they have a bad game when they're 19 or 20, we want to sort of say they're not ready yet. So at both ends of the scale, but I think you need a very experienced, level-headed manager, which Jose obviously is, to be able to look at the big picture and say, this is the team I want to play this week, this is the way I want to go, or that way, and disregard the age thing. Because if people are performing, then that's all you want from your players.
And with having a manager of the stature and quality of Jose Mourinho back at the start of the season, last season that we had 2 different managers, the Rafa era was very, very stressed because it wasn't well received by the fans. There was all that sort of background to it. This is a whole different scenario, some new, young, exciting players. We've got the special one back. Can you see this as a season where Chelsea can really seriously make a tilt for the title?
I'd like to think so. A tilt for the title has been something we haven't done for a few years now, and that's due to our consistency. And I think that's something we have to find. And I believe with the manager we have, and I don't want to make any serious predictions at this point, but I believe in this squad we can talk between closed doors in meetings, and they're the sort of aims that we're going to have. So I think I said last year, halfway through the season, it would be great if we can get some stability at some stage. We can get a manager that's going to take us forward for a few years without this constant changing, and that wasn't a dig at the chopping and changing, because it actually won us some serious silverware in the last 2 years. But as a club now, it certainly feels good. When you speak to Chelsea fans now, a lot of my friends live in the area. They're all very excited at the squad, at the manager, and the way the club's going. So now it's up to us to go out and perform.
What about Frank Lampard personally? We haven't seen you kick a ball in anger yet. When can we expect to see Frank Lampard in action for Chelsea?
Well, very soon. I've been on the Asia tour, and I picked up a bit of a niggle on my Achilles through probably training very hard in that first week or so. And it's been one of those that's been slightly frustrating, but I've just had to manage it. It's been more frustrating if it was mid-season and I was trying to manage it then. So the manager's been great with me, and the fitness coach and Rui and all the medical team, and I'm looking forward to taking part in the American tour here and playing some games.
we look forward to seeing how it turns out. Frank, thanks for
Cheers.
joining us.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you. Appreciate that, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.